Hello everybody, David Schuster here. Canadian boycotts of U.S. products and states are intensifying and the impact on the U.S. economy is becoming more severe. An update on that in a moment, but first, amidst the Trump tariffs, investors around the globe are also abandoning the United States. And on this day, we saw it as soon as the U.S. stock markets opened.
Here we go. We're off, we're running, we've started, and we're opening in the red, big time. The Dow Industrials in the first few seconds of business down 350 points. That's 0.84%. You're back to 41,600. Oh, look at that. There's the Dow 30. I see two winners. That's your lot. 28 losers, 2 winners. Plenty of selling. The S&P 500 is down 50 points, exactly 1%. The Nasdaq Composite down 241 points, 1.3%. Show me big tech, please. How are they doing with everything else down? They're all down. Apple, Microsoft, Alphabet, Meta, Amazon, all in the red, significantly so.
Traders and investors clearly do not like the direction of the Trump economy. Canadians have been taking action for months. On the heels of Trump talks about Canada becoming a U.S. state, denigrating comments about Canadian leaders, tariffs, and talk by Trump about redrawing the U.S.-Canadian border, sales of most U.S. products in Canada have nearly disappeared.
There's 40 million Canadians that are ramped up, literally going down retail shopping aisles, looking to see what's made in Canada, what's made in the U.S. I've never seen anything like it.
Canadians are also refusing to visit the United States and spend any tourist money here. Even in a border state like Maine, the tourism businesses are drying up.
This has been a family business for 50 years. You got to take into the fact how the Canadians perceive this, and they are incredibly pissed off.
We met Sterling Morse in Old Orchard Beach, Maine. He owns the Point of View Inn, which is only about 150 miles from the Canadian border.
We have been here.
He says the majority of his regular customers are French Canadians.
It's affecting at least 90% of my business.
Are you saying you've had 90% of your business canceled this year?
Easily.
Point of View Inn?
During our visit, yet another Canadian called to cancel.
Listen, monsieur, you don't need to explain anymore.
This is every registration card from last year. This is the Canadian. That's my American. This just went away.
That's all you got now. That doesn't pay the bills.
Does not.
It's the same story with countless tourism-based businesses in Florida.
With Canadians right now, we're about 30%, when we should be more like around 80%. So it's a big drop.
Canadians led the list of top international visitors in the United States, and the U.S. Travel Association says they've generated $20.5 billion in spending last year, supporting 140,000 American jobs. So even a small drop could have a real impact.
We're seeing definitely an increase in snowbirds exploring alternate destinations to the U.S.
I definitely will not be coming to the United States this year. And unless things change, probably not until Trump is out of administration. He's a threat to us, and he's a threat to so many other countries in the world that we value.
And as the rage in Canada grows, Donald Trump keeps adding fuel to the fire. He recently depicted Canadian leaders and negotiators as more difficult to deal with than America's fiercest enemies.
One of the nastiest countries to deal with is Canada. The people that, now this was Trudeau, the people that good old Justin, I call him Governor Trudeau, his people were nasty.
On top of Canadians boycotting U.S. products and refusing to spend tourism money in the United States, the Trump rhetoric and policies have also prompted countless Canadians to dump their U.S. real estate investments. Headline, Canadian snowbirds are selling their U.S. homes.
There's definitely been a noticeable change.
Cher Ross, a realtor in Southeast Florida, says about half of her French-Canadian clients have either sold, plan to sell, or are not doing seasonal rentals since Trump's victory.
I think they were concerned mostly with the value of their property. There was one couple who flat out said, we're selling because we don't want to be around for this political regime.
Canadians, though, are still investing and spending money outside of Canada. There are multiple reports that investments are surging in Cuba.
Great weather, great people. That's why we keep coming back.
I think that the people from Canada prefer to go to Cuba than Florida, man, because of Trump. He's, I'm not going to say what he is, but yeah.
According to several Canadians traveling in Cuba, has also become easier than traveling in the United States. Some parts of the U.S. are adding new ID requirements for Canadian drivers. And the story of one peaceful Canadian who was stopped and arrested in Georgia recently made Canadian national television news.
They're taking away my car, and now I can't drive, and I don't know what to do. I'm in Georgia.
Pretty upset, understandably. That's Emily Neal, who calls her arrest last month the most horrendous incident of her life.
She saw my license, and then she took a moment, looked down upon it, and she said, "This is not valid." And I was like, "No, my license has not been expired or anything like that." She's like, "No, this is a Canadian driver's license. I can't accept this. How do I know if you are actually Canadian or if this is a forgery? Canadian licenses aren't accepted in the state of Georgia." I did have more forms of ID. I had my OHIP card on me, but my passport, I don't keep it on me when I'm traveling. I like to keep it back in the hotel or back at the home that I'm staying at. And she kept insisting on seeing my passport, which I didn't have on me. I had a copy of it, along with a copy of my birth certificate and Nexus card, all on my phone, but she did not want to see any of those. She promptly told me that I was now under arrest, I could not drive in the state of Georgia, and that my car had to be impounded. So she put handcuffs on me, frisked me, and put me in the back of her police car, and we waited until a tow truck driver can come and take my car away.
And then she took you where?
She took me straight to jail.
To jail?
Yes, to jail, in which I was processed, booked, fingerprinted, mugshot, had to wear orange, the whole shebang, and I was in jail and forced to pay a bail to get out.
How long were you there?
They told me I was going to stay there until June 12th unless I paid the bail, but as soon as I was paid the bail, I was released after approximately 3 to 4 hours.
Emily Neal was lucky. There are multiple reports of other Canadians stopped and arrested for not having their passports who were kept in a U.S. jail for a week. The stories have disgusted and horrified Canadians who see a direct correlation between the anti-Canadian behavior of some U.S. police and the Canada bashing by Donald Trump. So the Canadian boycott of all things related to the United States is growing. And with every new tariff that Trump imposes on Canada, Canadian leaders are hitting back.
That's the last thing we want to do, especially with turbulent times happening around the world. You have to stick together. We're part of the family, as we believe, for 200 years, and I know a lot of Americans feel the same way. We're there to support our greatest friends and allies. We'll always be there, but we can't be under attack by one person.
And the attacks on Canada from Trump keep coming. So Canadians are putting their elbows up, to use a hockey phrase, for fighting. Although unlike in Canada, where games have finite lengths and seasons come to an end, many Canadians feel, as many Americans do, that the Trump administration term is going to drag on indefinitely. The only question seems to be whether U.S. businesses, corporations, and consumers, stung by the Canadian boycotts and reeling under the Trump economy, can somehow convince Donald Trump and his Republican enablers to back off. By the way, Donald Trump's advisor and Doge leader Elon Musk is now erupting after getting slammed by an alleged baby mama.
I'm selling it because I need to make up for the 60% cut that Elon made to our son's child support.
That is Ashley St. Clair. As the headline says, the MAGA influencer says she's selling her Tesla because vindictive Elon Musk slashed their child support 60%.
Why do you think that he did that?
That's a great question for him.
You feel like he was sort of like vindictive against you in some way?
Yeah, that's his modus operandi when women speak out.
When was the last time that you spoke to him or tried to speak to him?
February 13th.
But he's just not responding to you at all. And how would you characterize sort of the way that he's going about?
You can check the stocks. I'm not the only one who's standing up after his message.
Elon Musk's alleged baby mama lashes out at petulant man-child amid paternity quarrel. Check out that video at the link below. It generated a lot of comments on YouTube. One of the most popular is from Lori, who writes, "Mr. Schuster with the baby mama drama. Yes, please." Thanks, Lori. I try to cover a broad range of stories. I appreciate your support and encouragement. To all the rest of you and Lori, I look forward to reading all of your comments about Canadians boycotting the United States and inflicting significant costs now on the U.S. economy.
I got to apologize to the American people. We absolutely love you. I'm sorry you've been put in this position, but we have no choice.
I'm David Schuster. Thanks for joining us.